Peace at last.
A hostage deal has been reached.
A ceasefire deal is reached between Israel and Hamas. Speaking out.
Do good for the Haitian immigrants.
Caplin News is live as Haitian leaders in South Florida demand President Biden to extend TPS before President-elect Trump takes office. And Senator Marco Rubio's confirmation hearing.
Nothing that was agreed to is irreversible or binding on the new administration.
His reaction to Biden lifting sanctions on the Cuban government. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Julian Lascano.
I'm Samantha Gutierrez. Today is Thursday, January 16th, 2025.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
President Biden says goodbye to the nation one last time. In President Biden's last day in office, a majority of Americans disapprove of his presidential term.
According to a CNN poll, only about 36% of Americans approve of Biden's term, making it the lowest approval rate in his presidency. With that poll, about 2/3 of Americans had major concerns on immigration, foreign affairs, and the economy. Despite the poor ratings, Biden is still hopeful about the future of America.
I still believe in the idea for which this nation stands. A nation where the strength of our institutions and the character of our people matter and must endure.
61% of Americans found the Biden administration to be a failure, whereas 36% saw it as a success.
A long sought-after temporary ceasefire and hostage deal between Hamas and Israel has been reached. As CNN's Brian Abel reports, the deal involves releasing 33 hostages from the October 7th attack.
At long last, I can announce a ceasefire and a hostage deal has been reached between Israel and Hamas.
The relentless fighting in Gaza between Israel and Hamas is about to cease temporarily. Following months of negotiations, Hamas and the Israeli government agreeing to a deal that will pause the fighting and see a phased release of hostages seized from Israel during the October 7th, 2023 attack. The significant ceasefire, coming at the 466-day mark since that attack on Israel, may be the longest of the war so far. The agreement calls for a 6-week end to the bombing, for Israeli troops and Hamas militants to lower their weapons, and for 33 Israeli hostages to be released during the first phase of the pause. 7 of the remaining hostages are American, 4 of whom have been confirmed dead. Some of those Americans will be released in the initial phase. In exchange for the hostages, hundreds of Palestinian prisoners will be released by Israel, including those convicted of killing Israelis.
This deal was developed and negotiated under my administration, but its terms will be implemented, for the most part, by the next administration. In these past few days, we've been speaking as one team.
President-elect Donald Trump posting on Truth Social, "We have a deal for the hostages in the Middle East. They will be released shortly. Thank you." News of the ceasefire brought hundreds to Tel Aviv's Hostages Square. Sources familiar with the matter saying the ceasefire and hostage release, the first since last November, could begin as early as Sunday. In Washington, Brian Abel reporting.
A plea for help to the president for those in the country under temporary protected status.
As Caplin News' Anthony Cruz reports, it comes from the Miami-Dade Commissioner Marlene Bastian.
Yes, and although TPS is usually extended across 18-month cycles, the commissioner said that this change will not only allow Haiti time to recover, but also calm the fears of a community living down here in South Florida that she says is in agony.
He was injured in fleeing the violence of armed gangs. He had to go over a wall in order to, they were after him, and he got injured when he was scaling the wall.
When asked why he believed the president needed to follow the commissioner's demands, Haitian immigrant Chrisnel Gachet showed us an injury on his leg that he said in his native Creole was suffered after escaping gang violence back at home. Gachet says he and his wife have traveled in and out of the U.S. legally for the past 10 years on visas. He was working in Haiti and wanted to go back, but the conditions of his country made his return virtually impossible.
In Port-au-Prince, you probably cannot even get back to your house safely because as soon as you leave the airport, you're in the territory of the armed gangs.
Gachet is from southern Haiti, which was affected by a devastating earthquake in 2021. his wife already has TPS and was able to renew it in the previous cycle, during which Guisset first applied for it himself. One of his children is a U.S.-born citizen, while another is still in Haiti. Commissioner Bastien said she believes stories like Guiset's are why Biden should
do good for the Haitian immigrants who have been contributing to this country since the 16th, 17th century. Because if there is an America that is thriving today, it is because of the work of Haitian immigrants.
Bastien also asked Biden to redesignate TPS for new applicants, specifically pointing to those under his 2-year humanitarian parole program whose status he chose not to renew back in October. Activist Thomas Kennedy says that since then, Biden has let these people down.
And I think a lot of people, when the parole program was ended, thought that that was sort of like a layup for the current administration, the Biden administration, to grant those TPS redesignations. That didn't happen. So, they've let all these people down. And again, these are people that could be sent back to countries that have, really, really chaotic social-political conditions, to say the least.
And this request comes just a week after President Biden extended TPS for the people of Venezuela, Sudan, El Salvador, and Ukraine, while President-elect Trump openly supported Governor Ron DeSantis's calling for a special session in the state of Florida to help propel his mass deportation policy. Reporting for Caplin News, I'm Anthony Cruz.
That was Anthony Cruz reporting. Marco Rubio had bipartisan support at his Senate confirmation hearing yesterday. The Secretary of State nominee has served as senior Florida senator since 2011. Rubio drew bipartisan support amongst the Senate Foreign Relations Committee yesterday.
I would just remind anyone on this recent deal with Cuba that just happened over the last 12 hours, nothing that was agreed to is irreversible or binding on the new administration. And I think people know my feelings, and I think they know what the president's feelings have been about these issues when he was president previously. And nothing that the Biden administration has agreed to in the last 12 or 18 hours binds the next administration, which starts on Monday.
Rubio also faced questions over President-elect Trump's business ties with foreign countries. He spoke on NATO and the Russia and Ukraine conflict he wants to see end. Rubio also noted new Israel-Hamas ceasefire was a positive development.
Just days before the presidential inauguration, the city of Doral approves the Trump Organization's plan to build a 1,500 square unit luxury condo. The Doral City Council voted unanimously last night to approve the Trump Doral International Towers project. Among the present members of the Trump Organization was Trump's son, Eric Trump, who expressed his satisfaction over yesterday's vote.
Well, it's incredible to get unanimous approval by the city of Doral on all 3 rounds of our application. We've spent a tremendous amount of time on this. I mean, we have a credible team. They've literally been working on this for a 4-year period of time, and we're going to build something that Doral's going to be very proud of. I mean,
the condos are expected to begin selling within the next 18 months.
A cute and happy ending for a group of little waddlers thanks to the Miami-Dade Fire Rescue. Firefighters in Miami recently responded to a call of a group of ducklings stuck in a drain. One of the crews went down with a bucket and rescued all of the babies. They were then reunited with their mother, who was watching from nearby.
The Heat look for a win at home after weeks on the West Coast.
That's still ahead, and so is the story.
Dr. Fagan, she has done so much to support in the short span of just 9 months.
A group of middle school students take over school board decisions. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles, watching each other's backs,
And banding together.
we should still make an effort
We should still make an effort.
to get to know each other.
On a deeper level. Father.
Cosplayer,
Mentor.
actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
It's time we take a step forward. Come together
and discover
how accepting our differences can make us stronger.
A group of students show support for the superintendent. Hundreds of middle schoolers in Tennessee staged a walkout on Tuesday.
They did so in protest of the school board's efforts to fire the superintendent. As WMC's Garner Montgomery reports, Dr. Marie Fegans was only 9 months into the job, but the students felt the impact of her tenure.
Student Council President Chase Hawkins led students in a chant supporting MSCS Superintendent Dr. Marie Fegans on the steps of Bellevue Middle School.
Dr. Fagan, she has done so much to support in the short span of just 9 months. I've never seen anybody accept the job and get in there 10 toes down just like that.
Students gathering support for their walkout during lunch hours.
We went from lunch to get their signatures and tell them why we're doing this, why we want her to stay.
After we seen how the meeting went, it was just like, we definitely have to do something now. Just one school makes a difference because we can totally reach out across the district and collect signatures.
The walkout organizers are part of the district's Legacy Builders program, where students work closely with the superintendent to brainstorm ideas for the school district.
Us Legacy Builders, we went to a lot of meetings with her, and every time she tries to listen to everybody, what makes them feel safe, what they want and what they need at school.
The goal of the walkout and petition is to show the school board the impact Dr. Marie Fegans has already made as superintendent.
We want to continue to build on to Memphis Shelby County Schools instead of taking away.
Garner Montgomery, Action News 5.
The Miami Heat return home after losing to the Los Angeles Lakers. Much like their game against the Clippers a few days prior, the Heat was up in the first half and derailed in the second. This leaves the Heat 3-on-3 on their West Coast trip. The final score was Heat 108, Los Angeles 117. The Heat come home to host the Denver Nuggets tomorrow at 8 p.m. You're watching Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
I could really use a new tablet. I just don't have the money.
Let me ask you something. Do you have a Pell Grant?
Yes?
You do know you can get a free tablet, right?
Did you say free?
Yeah, free. It's simple. And the application is done in the store.
I could really use a tablet.
Go get one. Another satisfied customer. Stop by Pantotech in the Graham Center at FIU MMC today to speak with one of our associates to get your free tablet.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life. But how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have something called prediabetes. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Samantha Gutierrez.
And I'm Julian Lascano. Thank you guys so much for watching. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.